Oh my god. Okay. Hi. Hi, YouTube. Okay, oops. I feel like I've even forgotten how to do this. I've missed posting on YouTube so much. My life has changed so much from the last time I posted. I can't really even remember. It was like... Anyway, I am clearly nervous to film my first video, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm so glad to be back. I have missed posting, and yeah, so much has changed, guys. I am now 24 years old. The last time I posted on YouTube, I think I was 22, turning 23. I am now 24. I changed jobs. I got another job last year in October. I got into a relationship last year, November. Yeah, just a lot has changed in my life from a year ago, a time like this, to where I am now. And honestly, I'm just grateful. It is the grace of God that I have come this far, and I'm just glad to finally be back. So today I'm coming at you guys with a little girl chat. Like, I've missed yapping. I'm always yapping by myself anyways in my room when I'm just here talking to myself, like it's just like, yeah, Chelsea, just fucking film the video, just film the video. Okay, so I'm filming the video today. Today I'm coming at you guys with a girl chat, so let's get into it. I have my laptop over here with me, and it has some questions that have been asked, so let's get into it. Number one, let's talk about navigating adult friendships. Okay, when I hear the word navigating adult friendships, I just think about maybe hardships in adult friendships. And honestly, what I'm realizing the older I get is how intentionality matters so much in adult friendships. Like, without intention, it'll easily be 2 years and you've not seen a friend of yours. Mind you, you're in the same country. Okay, like time will pass you that by. And another thing I think we don't take into account, you know, I feel like we are in this culture of cut people off fast. I think now as we're getting older, we don't take in account, yeah, people die. Does this mean that, like, and I think I say it that way so that we can zoom out, you know, how important really is this problem that you're having with a friend, you know? I think right now, as I grow older, I lean more into giving friendships the same chances we give romantic relationships, you know, the same chances you give that ancient nigga. Yeah, I said it. Those are the same amount of chances we should honestly give our female friendships and our adult friendships back. Does it mean tolerating poor behavior under the guise of, you know, maintaining a friendship? Of course not, but I genuinely believe in giving people grace and space to come into who they're meant to be, to come into who they're supposed to be, and finding the room to interconnect where your paths meet, like where you guys align, and just connecting there, you know, instead of judging people because they are at point ABC and you're at point XYZ, and maybe you think you're better than them, maybe you don't think you're better than them. I feel like life, to navigate this life thing, you need a lot of grace, and I think I'm just learning to implement that more, especially in my adult friendships. Grace when your friends can and can't show up, when they are the best version of themselves versus maybe when they're not right there yet, you know. Having grace for your friends in all the versions of themselves. Does this mean accept toxic behavior, accept jealous friends, accept people who put you in dangerous positions, people who prioritize certain things very blatantly and obviously instead of you? No, but it just means, you know, having the discernment to gauge which friendships are worth grace and which ones are not, and staying steadfast in your decision. To be honest, if umeamua I'm gonna be gracious with my friend who is in this season of their lives, 10 toes on that, you know. So that's what I feel like I have to say about adult friendships. So number 2, keeping yourself up even at your lowest. Oh my god, this one I feel like means so much to me, because I feel like I remember myself in 2021, in 2022, and I think my life was so different. I was struggling so much. I was fighting with my family. I had no source of income. I'm struggling to finish uni. I'm in the worst like connections and relationships of my life, you know. And it's like, honestly, in those moments, number one, once again, zooming out, realizing that this moment is a small speck in the timeline that is your life. You know, we have, life is long, life is short, but life is also long. And realizing, and honestly, when you're in a low moment, I normally sometimes kind of like low moments, whether it is in business, in work, in how you're feeling about yourself, because honestly, the only way is up. You can either stay there, continue feeling like shit, or you can spend time fantasizing honestly about yourself when life has changed, when things have changed for you, when things have worked out for you. You know what I mean? Especially in those low moments, you need to be so steadfast and so committed to the version of you that has overcome whatever you have overcome, because that persistence and that commitment is what allows you to like break free. So honestly, honey, it's just a matter of time. Just stay the course of time. What goes down shall eventually come up. What goes up shall eventually come down. And just remembering that those principles of the universe and of life apply to yourself too. But like, you know, sometimes we are so fixated on seeing things change now, on seeing it change right now in our face, and just having the trust that things are working out for you, no matter how it looks at any point in time. Things are working out for you. Doors are opening up for you that you have no clue about. And yani, being steadfast in the faith that is happening in the background, that's all that matters. And honestly, I would say also, don't fixate on how something is gonna work out for you. Just trust that it's gonna work out for you. When you're at a restaurant and you're being served, are you fixating on how your chef is making your food? You trust that they're making your food for you, and you know that the waiter will bring it to you. You're not there constantly watching, checking, oh my god, has this thing worked out? How is the chef cooking my food? Can I get some inside view onto the chef? You know, you trust the chef, trust your life. You know, you are the chef of your life, no matter how cliche it sounds, and things are working out for you that you can't even fathom. Our mind is so limited. You trust me, with the way things have worked out for me, I could have never have imagined certain things in my life would go the way it did. And I remember even being in very low moments of my life and just wondering, yani, why? And now that life has continued and a lot of space and time has occurred to that event, I see, okay, so I see why that happened. And I see that, oh, okay, kumbe, this thing was on its way to me to save me from those circumstances, but I didn't know it yet. So just trust and patience. It's already done. You know, that's my motto in life. Honestly, it's already done. Anything you want, it's done. The job you want, it's done. The relationship you want, it's done. You know, the amount of money you want to make, it's already done. There exists a version of you that has already achieved that. If you can imagine it, it is possible. Okay. So number 3 is outgrowing friends and environments. What to do? I feel like normally we think that we have to do stuff like, oh my god, I'm outgrowing this friend, what do I do? You let it you just let it be. You let it happen. I think we have been taught in today's day and age that, you know, to try and, why is that bus passing in between my video? But we've been taught in today's day and age to try and alter as much external things as we can, when really what you should be focused on altering is your internal world. You know, have you ever heard the phrase, as within so without, as above so below? So anything that you already have externally was created from internally, you know. So when things are happening externally and you feel like you have no control over them, honestly, it's a sign to get more control internally, and you will have more control externally. So when something is happening, you're outgrowing friendships, you're outgrowing relationships, you're outgrowing jobs, just let it be and turn inward and honestly focus on that, because it's from within your inner world that you're able to give rise to the outer world, you know. So that's what I would say. Just let it be. How to not get triggered by people with low self-concept around you. So in brackets, unavoidable places. I think that's the wrong question. You can't not get triggered, but you can manage how you do feel after you have gotten triggered. So, and you know, and I feel like honestly the answer to all these questions is the cliche things you see about how to manage your nervous system, how to handle yourself when something has triggered. Take a walk, talk to someone about it, journal about it. Honestly, sit still with it, and it will be clear what this trigger is trying to show you, not only about the other person but about yourself, you know. So how to not be triggered with people around low self-concept. I think maybe how I would internalize this question is, maybe you have such big dreams for yourself, but the people around you are very limited in their thinking. So maybe when you share your hopes and dreams, they discourage you, hence their low self-concept. Stop sharing it with them, you know. Stop seeking validation from them. The only person's validation you need is your own, because like literally you are the creator of your life. You decide. So, you know, don't give any power to them. What they think, what they believe has nothing to do with you. Honestly, frankly, it is fully on them and their reality, but you get to decide what you choose to believe, what you choose to believe is possible over your life, what you think you can achieve. That's up to you. So that is my answer to that, you know. Decenter them. Don't give them any power. Don't ask them for advice. Don't ask them for validation, you know. Have you ever heard this quote that's like, I don't ask for advice from somebody who's not in the position I want to be in, you know. So like, even for example, when you want to quit your job, are you really gonna ask your coworker who is in the same dead job as you? Do you think they'll be guided enough to even advise you? You know, they're probably even gonna limit you, put fear into your plans and your ideas, you know. So also don't pedestalize people's advice. At the end of the day, people advise you from their own limitations, their own limiting beliefs, their own experiences. So really, it's just about having so much self-trust up within yourself and doing it anyways, you know. Next is talk about anxiety while dating. Okay. I feel like dating is what is the word? I don't know. I just like talking about this topic. I like talking about relationships, connections, friendships. So yeah, let's talk about it. Anxiety while dating, and I'll talk about this more in another whole video if you want. But I was actually talking to my best friend about this. Yeah. So something about people who are anxious when dating, people who have an anxious attachment, is that you're highly attuned. You notice even the tiniest shifts. You notice the tiniest shift in energy, the tiniest shift in tone. Mind you, you're able to notice these shifts from texts, you know, text messages, a phone call, a vibe. You could have even had a dream. You're just like a highly sensitive person. And I feel like we've gotten the whole anxiety thing wrong. What if we could reframe our anxiety to be power, you know? What if when you sense yourself getting anxious, what if you use that to be like, to alert yourself, I'm getting anxious. It's probably a sign that this person maybe isn't as available, or maybe they might not be the best fit for me because they're triggering me. You know, instead of trying to decode what they're doing that has made you anxious, how about decoding yourself and what it's sort of showing you about yourself that you're feeling this way, you know? So, and I saw this in a TikTok video like years ago, and it honestly reframed how I looked at being like having an anxious attachment in dating. I looked at it now like a superpower, and look at it like an alarm system. You're feeling anxious, you know, and let me tell you, when you're trying to shift from being anxious to secure, it's literally all in clarity and good communication. So for example, you feel anxious, bring up your concern, but there are two ways you can respond. So the first way is, for example, the person gives you clarity and now you're more assured. You're like, oh, okay. Versus the second way, the person gives you quick reassurance, quick sit nothing, and it soothes you. You know, it's like it soothed your anxiety, but has it really solved the issue, you know? So I feel like honestly, how to combat anxiety in dating, seek clarity, have good communication, and maybe your anxiety is not lying to you. You know, it is what it feels like. If you're constantly getting triggered, feeling anxious, obsessing over tiny things someone is doing, that's probably your nervous system's way of trying to alert you that, this person is probably avoidant, or they're probably unavailable in some way, shape, or form. So I would say lean into trusting that. And I feel like let's grow into having a better relationship with our triggers, whereby we are not upset for getting triggered, but we are grateful because it's alerted us about something that's happening internally, you know. So like, for example, if food is going rotten, won't you be grateful? At least I can smell that it's going rotten, as opposed to you can't smell it at all and you take it and now you have a bad stomachache, and that's how you know you ate something bad, you know. So like, let's reframe the relationship we have with the things that trigger us. I feel like they are teaching us something about ourselves, and they are more like alarm systems. Hey, next question is just our 20s so far. 20s, early 20s. All I can say is that honestly, we are taught to be like, oh, don't take your 20s that seriously, but honestly I think we should, because it's the foundation that will, you know, we are finally conscious, we finally have access to sources of income, you finally have agency over yourself, you can take yourself places, you know. It's not like before when you were young and your parents literally dictate your entire life for you. So in your 20s we have agency, you have choice, you have boundaries, you have access to money, and I feel like we shouldn't really take that for granted. So like, doesn't mean you have to be so serious. Honestly, you can still have a fulfilling life. I think something that I try to do is just do the right thing most of the time, not all the time, to be honest. Like, for example, now I'm trying to lose weight, because I gained a bit of weight last year, and my focus is on doing the right thing most of the time. So what does that look like? Maybe Monday to Friday I won't order out, but not gonna lie, Saturday, Sunday I will. So I feel like even when it comes to our 20s, with relationships, with going out, with jobs, with our families, I don't know, I feel like it boils down to try do the right thing most of the time that aligns with where you wanna be, and honestly you're gonna see progress, you know. So like, for example, maybe Monday to Friday I'm locked in, but Saturday, Sunday, honey, I'm gonna have my weekend. That's completely okay, and it doesn't have to mean anything. And honestly, even if you've not been as locked in doing the right thing at the right time, there is no deadline to get your stuff in order. There's no deadline to take ownership over your life, you know. And I actually like reframing your 20s to sort of be, Rochelle mentioned this in her video, to sort of be a time for immense devotion and dedication to yourself, you know, such that even when you slip up, you're correcting yourself from a nice and kind point of view. You're not correcting yourself like you're so hard on yourself, like you know, you're just so hard on yourself, like you're talking to yourself badly, you're so hard on yourself when you fuck up. I feel like when that's how you talk to yourself, you're more likely to get stuck in the wrong situations, because like you have the mindset for like, nisha fuck up, might as well just continue, as opposed to when you're loving to yourself. I feel like it's the sustainable change happens from self-love, not from shame, you know. And when you're kinder to yourself, let's say yesterday I binged, ate junk food, today I'm ready to make a different decision, and I do it with grace and love, you know. And I'm honestly more likely to stick to it when I make decisions out of love instead of shame. And then, what's a boundary you've recently learned to set? I think a boundary I'm still learning to set is the situations I allow myself to be in, the people that I allow myself to be in. Like, I don't want to be in triggering situations, I don't want to be in draining situations, and really realizing that I have agency and control over my life, and exercising that agency and control. And what does this mean? It looks like FOMO, you know, because sometimes you're gonna be like, you know what, let me choose to stay home, or let me choose not to go there, or you know, or like just sitting with that feeling, let me choose not to order that, let me choose to do this, do something different, you know. So that's a boundary I'm learning with myself of late. Okay, I have 2 more questions that I've just received, so let us answer them right now in real time. Hii swali ingine ni swali deadly. So, the first question is, people having access to you while in a relationship, where do we draw the line? And it's somebody that I know, very close to me, that has asked me this question. But anyway, so where do we draw the line? I think about relationships and maybe conflict that arises in relationships. This is the principle I use. Between me and you, who cares, who is clearly affected more by this thing? And if I can see you're affected, you're bothered, it makes you uncomfortable, honestly, I'm gonna do what you want. Because if I'm not affected, it doesn't bother me in any way, shape or form, then it shouldn't be such a hard thing for me to compromise about, you know? So I don't think there's a specific place where you draw the line, but I think it's all about recognizing who is affected by this and honoring their emotions. That's all it is. If I'm not affected, or maybe I don't see it as such a big deal, then it shouldn't really matter to me, you know? But if I see you are affected, then boom, it's done. We are doing what you want to do, you know? And yeah, because I feel like at the end of the day, relationships are about compromise, and I use that same principle whenever I'm having like arguments with like my best friends, even with my family, you know? Like there are certain things, like let's say taking out chicken after work. Like let's say your mom has asked you to take it out and you forgot to take it out, and you come home and you see she's shouting and ranting and raving, she's so upset about it, but then you're like, hey, but it's not that serious. If it's not that serious for me, then it should be very easy for me to just adhere to what would soothe her and make her feel better. You know what I mean? So I think, I don't know if I've answered the question, but I hope I have. So the line is drawn at wherever anyone is uncomfortable, you know? That's where the line is drawn, in my opinion. And then the last question, how to know when you're ready for marriage / long-term commitments. Mumeona niko in a relationship, mnaniuliza maswali za marriage. Joking. Anyway, I think what I would say is, I think it's very rude of this bus to be passing here right now. Anyway, but I think it just speaks to alignment of values, you know, alignment in terms of family and all of that, alignment in terms of this is how you know you want to be treated for the rest of your life. I feel like that's an easy question. Am I okay if, you know, is this how I want to be treated for the rest of my life? And if that answer is yes, then you're probably ready for the next step. I don't know if that means marriage, but a long-term commitment with a specific partner, 100% yes. Yeah, so that is what I would say. Anyway, thank you guys so much. If you have watched this video after my year-long hiatus, thank you so much. I can't wait to film so many other videos with friends, vlogs. I want to show you guys what my life is like now, what I do now. I want to document my healing journey on things I'm trying to do and things I'm trying to achieve. That's something I for sure want to do. So yeah, thank you so much. If you have any requests for anything you want me to talk about, to post about, feel free to let me know. But otherwise, thank you so much for being here. I love you.